Inc. magazine publishes a list every year of the 5,000 fastest growing companies in the country. It's a pretty prestigious list, and it's an honor to be on it. If you're not on it, you might be asking yourself the question, well, how do I get there? Well, Endsight is going to be celebrating its 10th appearance on that list this year. And that's something that we're pretty proud of. But I thought I'd share a little bit of my thoughts on how I think we got there. I think the overarching message is to be on that list, you need to be a high performing company. But what does that mean? Well, there's 5,000 different companies that make that list every year. That path is going to be different for everybody. But here are 7 things that I think Endsight does pretty consistently that give us permission to raise our hand and say, hey, we should be considered for that list and get selected for that list. So I think the first thing is our organization has a vision. Endsight's vision is to be the highest quality MSP worldwide. Now, we're not there yet, but it is a big, hairy, audacious goal, and it's something that we're pursuing. Second, we have a shared vocabulary for how we're going to do this. We encapsulate these things in what we call our core values. And living those allows us to ignite what our CEO, Mike Chapek, calls the spirit of play. This is an empowerment to make decisions and to do work that I find meaningful in service of a higher goal. Third, we have financial rigor. Everybody at Endsight understands the economic drivers, and they can tie what they're doing day in and day out to the profitability and growth of the organization. And we have a hope and a vision for what that means for us professionally and for our families. We're disciplined about our strategic planning. We have a flywheel that we apply annually, quarterly, monthly, in our one-on-ones on a weekly basis. It all ladders up to these big goals that we've set for ourselves. And we spend real time thinking at an annual meeting about what we're going to say yes to, and more importantly, what we're going to say no to. And it's the consistency, I think, that allows us to focus on the work that we're going to do throughout the year. We keep our promises. And this takes on a couple of different dynamics. First, there's promises that we make to our customers, like we're going to get to you in 5 minutes or less when you call us for help. But also to our employees. Everybody at Endsight gets the opportunity to create a career development plan that can contribute to a very long and successful career here at Endsight. It's not just making those promises, though. It's having the discipline to keep those promises over and over and over, and knowing that sometimes we'll fall short. And when we do, admitting that and figuring out how to do better next time. We have cultivated and continue to invest in a culture of continuous improvement. And that's not necessarily the easiest thing in the world. It requires real humility because sometimes you have to admit that you've made a mistake or that the idea that you had just didn't work. That's not an easy thing to do. It's also not an easy thing to do to lean into fixing something that's broken, particularly when leaning in requires doing something that's very uncomfortable or having an uncomfortable conversation. I think the last thing that we do is we raise our hand, we apply. And I know that sounds a little bit obvious, but I think we get busy in our lives. I also think that there's a chorus of voices that says, you won't qualify. You won't get it. I think raising your hand is important, and I think it's worth including on the list. Now, you might already be a high-performing organization and know all of these things, or you may be somewhere on the dynamic that I'm just describing. Either way, our CEO, Mike Chapek, he's launching a new podcast called First Principles, and you're going to want to tune in. Mike is a very smart business leader. But the thing that I think is going to make his show unique is that Mike is also a student of business. And he's going to be leaning into a lot of different topics, but much of it will be around leading with vision and values to inspire the spirit of play. And you're probably not going to want to miss those episodes. So if you'd like to find out about them when we launch, just go ahead and type the word vision in the comments, and we'll make sure to get you on the list. My name's Jason Claus, and I work at Endsight. And around here, we believe that high performing businesses need high performing technology. If you think that too, we would love to talk to you.